Are you up for the dare? We have officially launched our fall study called Daring Faith. Over the next several weeks, we are going to focus on growing, sowing, and going in faith. First, God wants you to grow in your faith. In Colossians chapter 2, verse 7, we read these words: "Let your roots grow down into Him, and let your lives be built on Him. Then your faith will grow strong in the truth you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness." God wants you to deepen your relationship with Him. God wants you to grow in your faith. Our Father doesn't want us to be spiritual babies for our entire lives. Second, God wants you to sow in faith. In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6, Paul writes, "Remember this, whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously." God wants you to grow in your generosity. In fact, you can't grow in your faith without growing in your generosity. You cannot become more Christ-like without becoming more generous. Third, God wants you to go in faith. In Hebrews chapter 11, we read this brief summary of Abraham's life. It was by faith Abraham obeyed God's call to go. He left his own country without knowing where he was to go. Can you imagine? Abraham was pretty close to retirement time. It was time for him to hang it up and hang out on the deck and enjoy the view. But God said, "Abraham, I want you to go. I have an adventure for you that you could have never imagined." Going in faith means that we're going to find ourselves going places we hadn't expected and doing things that we hadn't anticipated doing. Beginning this week, I want to challenge you to do three things. I want you to set a daring faith goal for growing. How are you going to intentionally deepen your relationship with God? A great place to start with that are with the devotions that Rick Warren has provided in the Daring Faith material that we're using over these weeks. Second, I want you to set a daring faith goal for sowing. What steps are you going to take to grow in your generosity? How are you going to be more faithful in your giving to support the work of Christ? Finally, I want you to set a daring faith goal for going. How are you going to deepen your service of God? How are you going to step out in faithful obedience? If you will do these things, I'm convinced that over the next several weeks, you're going to be in for quite an adventure. You very well may encounter God in ways that you never have before. Are you willing to take the challenge? Go ahead. I dare you.